Do you want to get approved for 250,000 at 0% interest in business funding in 2025? Well, you're going to want to watch this video then, because the same things that worked in 2024 is not going to work here in 2025. So I'm going to go exactly over what you need to consider, the qualifications, and even with banks that you need to go to get up to 250,000 at 0% interest in business funding in 2025. Let's go. What's going on? It's Colin Brown here from Business Credit Unlimited, and I'm back. So let's get down straight to it. This is how you're going to get $250,000 at 0% interest business funding in 2025. So banks are getting tighter and tighter with their restrictions. Okay, for business funding, it gets harder every year, it seems. And I've been in the credit space since 2017. Really, I really started considering it back in 2016. So I've seen a lot. I've been around a lot. I've been around the way. I'm not a fly by nighter. I've seen a lot. And I'm telling you, it seems that every year there's a new strategy that you have to implement in order to get funding from the bank. So I'm seeing approvals get lower and lower, even for qualified clients, if you're not strategic. So you have to be strategic moving forward in 2025. The name of the game is going to be strategy, just like I just said, in relationships. That's going to be the key to 250K at 0% in 2025. And just in case, if you don't know what I mean by 0% interest funding, that's going to be typically 0% business credit cards or business credit cards that offer a 0% intro period. You will likely not get a 0% APR period from a business line of credit or a business loan. So when you hear 0% funding, that's what I'm referring to. Okay. And these business credit cards can be liquidated to cash into your business checking accounts too as well. So keep that in mind. Now, the 0% APR period, by the way, on the business credit cards, they normally last anywhere from 6 to 18 months. So you do have to choose wisely on which cards that you get. Now, brand new businesses, with $0 in revenue. So you're a startup. You have not taken a single penny in revenue for your business. I'm telling you right now, your range is normally going to be 50 to 150K, even with a great personal profile. It's not going to be likely that you're going to take a startup company and get 250K. Is it possible to get like 200? Yeah, but I mean, you can. It's just going to take you more time. It's not impossible to get any limit with any business of any range. It doesn't matter if you just started it or it's been 10 years. It doesn't matter. What really matters is the time it's going to take. But it's not likely that you're going to be able to pull off 250K, just saying like 30 to 90 days. It's not likely. Likely is that you're going to be more at a 50 to 150K range. So I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not claiming that you can take a startup to 250K just like it's nothing. But for well-qualified clients, 250K is not really a big deal at all. It's really not. It's not. I'm not going to say it's child's play, but it's definitely not that big of a deal. And I'm going to show you that exactly which banks you can go to make that possible. And again, 250K is normally possible. It just take you a little bit longer. Time is going to pass by either way. So why you tripping if it take you 6 months to get 250K, right? It's life-changing money for your business. So anyways, possible. It is possible to get approved for 250K with no docs, 1,000%. We've done it multiple times. However, if you have the bank statements and things to show the banks, it's going to increase your odds of being approved for 250K. And when I say no docs, meaning that you will not have to show bank statements, tax returns, P&Ls, etc., in order to get your 250K. Is it possible? Yes. Probable depends on you and your situation. Now, what must you consider to actually get approved for this amount, or what you must consider is this. This is going to be like, if you don't take anything else from this video, I want you to consider this. Do you actually need 250K at 0% interest? Like most business owners just starting off will be good at 50 to 150K. Do you really need 250K? A lot of you guys do, but a lot of y'all really do not. Are you chasing this number because you see videos like this, you're like, oh, I want this 250, I want the 250. Or does your business actually demand that? Right. And again, all at once. Not saying eventually, not in 10 years. You know, in 10 years, you could get 500K plus. You could be at a million in 10 years. But I'm saying like within the next 30, 90 days. That's normally what I consider like a range of like in the short term. If you're looking to get funded within the next 3 months, like in the next 3 months, will you have 250K? Do you need 250K in the next 3 months? It's something very important to consider, because you could be just doing things because you're seeing other people do it. Okay. But your business doesn't actually demand it. Now, I'm talking about that specific number. I believe every business, this is just my personal perspective. I personally believe, and I'm not saying this because I'm in the industry, it makes me biased, absolutely 100%. But I literally believe every business owner should have some type of business funding, and at 0% is even better. Like everyone should have a 50 to 150K that they can use no matter how well they're doing in their business. Why not use, if you're using anything like to purchase in your business, why not use a business credit card and get points for it? Almost everyone likes to travel at least a little bit, even if you're not traveling like all international. Maybe you got family over, you live in the South like I do, and you got family over in California. You live in the North, but you got family in the East, whatever it is. Okay. Like just to go see them, or just to go, a business trip, whatever the case, personal trip. If you travel, like you could literally travel for free based on your business spend without spending an extra penny that you weren't already going to spend. So why not have that at 0%, build up points? So I think no matter what your situation is, you should have business funding. I'm talking about specifically this amount, 250K at 0%. Do you really need that? That's something to consider, right? Maybe you need to lower your standard just a little bit, because I see so many people like they come to me and they're like, I need 500K. Well, what you got going on for 500K? Well, you know, man, I just think they don't even have a reason for needing that much, more than likely. But if you're on a real estate side, like there's plenty of scenarios. Sometimes in trucking, you need that to purchase a truck. It's like many, many, many scenarios where you actually need 250K. But I'm saying if you don't worry about getting that amount. So this video is not for everyone. So again, I'm throwing it out there. I'm not the one. Like I see so many people like they advertise these things and they act like everybody's going to get 250K, and they're just not. Okay. So anytime you see me say something, I'm going to say up to 250K. That small distinction there is important. And why, you may say, well, no, why not just say a lower amount, Colin? Because for well-qualified clients, and when I say well, it's not like 3 or 4 people. For thousands of people, 250K is not a big deal. So yeah, I still want to attract the client that I can get 250K for, but I'm saying like for everybody, it's not going to be the case. That's where I'm getting at. Anyways, that was a little, a little rant there, if you will. But one thing to consider, and this is why I'm saying this too, outside of just what your needs are for your business, one thing that's very, very important to consider is that your 0% period starts the moment you get your business funding or you get your cards. So if you won't be able to leverage anything close to 250K, it's not really worth it to go for that amount. I think a solid 50 to 100, depending on your business, to 150, heck yeah, like let's do it. Let's go for it. But like don't, like if you get 250K, because some of y'all you could get 250K, you just may not need it. So you get 250K, but you only use 25K for that whole year. Now you had all that 0% there just going to waste, because after that intro period is done. You see, it doesn't make the most sense to really do that. And I wish somebody would have told that to me starting out, because when I started out back in 2018, 19, I was just trying to get limits. I wasn't worried about no 0%. The cards I was getting had 0%. I wasn't really leveraging. I wasn't building my strategy around my 0%. I'm way more different now, way more wise on how I do things. But at that time, I'm just going for limits. I wasn't even paying any attention, and I don't want you to make the same mistake that I made. So get the amount that you need. say you need to work with me to get there or whatever the case. Like you do need a higher amount. It's not that you don't need the funding. It's just, again, there's a big difference between 150 and 250. That's 100,000. Sometimes with these numbers, when we're talking about them, it's like sometimes people don't really understand. Like, that's $100,000. Like, that's a big difference. And if you don't need it, just don't get it. All right, I don't even shoot for it. It's all good. Anyways, now, how do you get qualified? What are the requirements for 250K? Because now I'm talking to those that either want the information or you like, hey, I do need the 250K. Again, I'm gonna be very direct here. Last time me saying this, thousands of business owners need 250K and 0% funding for their business. So I'm not saying it like nobody does, or it's just a small amount of people, but everybody, they just don't. That's just the facts. Okay. So if you are that person or you just want the information, let's talk about it. Let's move on. What are the requirements on the personal credit side? You're going to want, if you want 250K, you're going to have to bring your best stuff to the table. Okay. Don't expect to get 250K with a 621 personal credit score. You only have secure credit cards. You got, some late payments you're still dealing with, collections. It's not going to happen. Okay. Straight up. If you see that, I know clients have sent me this stuff before and it just really trips me out. You're not going to, like, this no doc stuff. This, you could take your 620 to Navy Federal and get 250,000. This it's mandatory that banks lend you this money. It's all lies. It's all lies. That's why nobody can ever show you the receipts for these things, man. They never have the approvals posted. They never could literally show you what they've done for them or other clients that was able to accomplish that. There's nothing you can legally do to, I don't even think illegally there's nothing you can do to even pull this off, right? So anyways, I ain't gonna say nothing because ain't no telling what people out there doing, but for the most part, it's like literally nothing you can do. So this video, this one, I feel like I'm getting ranty, but I have to break this down to you. I want y'all to come in with the right mindset in 2025 of how business funding really looks, what it looks like, so you can set your expectations properly. And I'm tired of seeing all the lies out there and stuff too. So I just have to address these things time to time. All right. Because I haven't talked about it in like a month or two, at least on this channel. So anyways, the personal credit score requirement is going to be 750 plus you really want before you apply. But all of this is pending based on your business, by the way. You can get away with a lot of things with a high revenue grossing business. When I say high revenue, especially anything minimum like 250K a year, but I would say especially 500K plus a year. If you're generating that in your business, I'm going to tell you that there's a lot of things you can get away with on the personal credit side. You'll qualify for a lot more funding than you would be if, you were just a startup business and you didn't have any revenue that you could prove. So if it's me, I'm coming 750 plus score, right? 725 at least, like really 750 plus. 3 to 9% on personal credit utilization, credit history. I want that to be 5+ years, 3 years at the absolute minimum. Highest credit limit, I want 10K plus, really like 25K plus. Absolute no negatives. If I do, it needs to be 3, 4, 5+ years. You want to have relationships with the major banks too as well. You don't want to have just a personal credit card with Kickoff or something like that, and that's the only thing that you have reporting on the personal side, right? It's probably not going to work out because the way you're going to get to 250K is basing off of your relationships or just going to the right banks, but a combination of both, really, like leveraging your relationships and going to the banks that's going to give you the limits that you're looking for in 0%. Okay. Well, a lot of the major institutions, I talk about this all the time. If you have like a ton of credit unions and things like that, you with the credit union route, it may be harder to get higher limits in business funding, right? Because most of the banks that are giving out higher limits on the business side, they tend to not be credit unions, and not every single credit union. I'm just saying, Because I'm still waiting. Y'all be talking about these credit unions. I'm still waiting to see the credit union that's really giving out higher limits, and you don't have to be in a specific area, live in a specific area to get access to that bank. It's just not as many options. So, anyways, minimum business requirements. You want to have at least 10K liquid in cash. That's going to make it a lot easier when you're opening business checking accounts and establish relationships. In order to do that, like having more cash is going to be better. But I mean, I would say even more than 10K, really. Like, it's going to be even better. Business revenue, I'm not trying to get 250K with a startup, really. It's just more than likely that that's not going to happen. Is it impossible? It's actually not impossible. I've just said that a million times, so I'm not going to go over it again. But typically, I want to see at least 15 to 25K plus a month. Business age, 3+ years. In establishing business banking relationship with major banks. That's going to be your minimum business requirements. And also, no negative trade lines or anything like that. Business credit score should still be solid. You Paydex of 80 plus. You're going to have a Paydex business credit score of 80 plus, though, if you already have like some business credit cards and other products that you're managing well. It's nothing too crazy you have to do for 80 plus Paydex score. Getting 80,000 in funding is a lot harder than getting like an 80 Paydex score. That's where you should really focus your energy at. Now, we've been talking about business relationships or strong business relationships. Now, what does that mean? That means that you have an account that you've had for 1 to 3+ months, where you have a business checking account, a merchant account, and other products, for an extended period of time. So preferably for 250K, you're going to want a relationship with at least like 1 to 3+ major institutions that you've had for like over a year, right? It's going to be very hard to come again, if your personal credit cards are nothing but like Kickoff and Credit One, Capital One, say you got those three, even if your limits, Capital One, you can't go anything on the business side, at least I wouldn't. So you take those three cards, Kickoff, Credit One, Capital One, even if they meet this criteria right here on the personal side, even if you meet all of this, it's going to be a little bit harder to get approved for a higher limit 0% funding, because I wouldn't go to either one of those banks for any business products. The only one that offer out of those three, Kickoff, Credit One, and Capital One, would be Capital One. But with Capital One, their cards report to the personal side, so I wouldn't even go there, right? So I mentioned a merchant account. Having deposits from business transactions are better than cash deposits. So if you're thinking like, I'm just going to open this business checking account and that's it, I wouldn't really do that over having actual transactions from your business. Depends on the bank, obviously, especially if the you have transactional history for 6+ months. Okay. Also, no NSFs or non-sufficient funds. Forgive me, y'all. I got my retainers in right now. Or a low 5 or higher bank rating is required normally, which is going to be, again, 10K minimum. And a business checking account is what you're going to want to see to get to that up to 250K. All right. And like I said, just to say this and reiterate it one more time, as far as the difference between 150 and 250. Like, the difference is like massive, because to get to 150K, again, we've done that without any of these things going on. Like with a brand new business, when I say brand new, like their business got started like a month before they worked with me. We got them to 150 with less than 60 days. No merchant account, just relationships established with some of the major banks, but not like optimized. Not like something I would do if I was just building a profile from scratch or something. But it's possible to get the 150K without having any stuff going on. But if you want 250, this is what you want. Now, I'm going to be strategic. Like I said, relationships, strategy. So now we talked about, first we talked about relationships. Now let's talk about strategy. So what I would do is go to bankbranchlocator.com, right? I'm going to go to my state, the state that I live in. So let's say you live in Pennsylvania, you live in Philly or Pittsburgh or, I don't know, Allentown or something, Lancaster or something like that. Okay. You're going to want to go here and create your funding strategy based on where you live at. First of all, who do you have strong banking relationships with first? Let's build relationships or use in a leverage those relationships based on tier one banks, meaning banks that are going to give you higher limits, like a Chase, American Express, Citizens, U.S. Bank, PNC, Wells Fargo, etc. So you want to go to those banks that are going to give higher limits if you're looking to get that 250K within 1 to 3 months, okay? Or you can even stretch it out to 250K in 6+ months, and that's going to be a lot easier to pull off because a lot of times you do want to have like a round one and a round two. And I've talked about this before. Like a lot of times I don't even do like we don't even have to do several rounds because our round one is so heavy. Like we getting 50 to 150K in the first round, baby. But for 250K, it may take 2 rounds. Like it may take 1 round. All right, let's see what we can get. We take a break there, and then we go for the second round. Okay. Now, which banks can get you a high limit of 0%? It really depends on your state. And no, foreign entities will not work from each and every bank. You cannot just take a foreign entity, establish one in whatever bank you, in whatever state you want to, and get funding from every single bank. Like a Citizens Bank, they're going to see if your home address matches with your business, and if your home address is not in the state that they provide funding in, then it doesn't matter. You can't go there. Okay, it's just how that works, right? So I put this for a business owner in Philly, but you know what? Matter of fact, I just pulled up Pennsylvania. So let's look at a simple funding strategy for a client that lives in, or just you that lives in Pennsylvania. So boom, right here on the screen, Chase Bank. We typically can get 50 to 150K just from Chase Bank. For example, we had several clients that got 100K just from Chase Bank. Let's see what we got. Like Stephanie here, she got 100K just from Chase Bank alone. She had a 75K approval and a 25K approval. So next, let's look at Citizens Bank. You can get a 50K approval when you go through the right business relationship manager. Everything else is set up properly with them. Like my client Phil here, he got approved for 50K just with Citizens Bank. That's 0% APR for 12 months, as we see there. American Express, you can get 25 to 50K just from there, right? And I didn't even, like, we hadn't even talked about American Express yet, have we? Yeah. So American Express, like my client Brian Lewis here, he said that's 50K from Amex now, working on Citizens and Truist. Let's go. So that was 225K approvals that he got. And then U.S. Bank, 25 to 50K there. Like my client of mine, he got 25K first. Well, no, that was the second approval from U.S. Bank. And then he got also a 23K approval. So say if you follow that exact strategy, boom. Even on the low end, you pretty much looking at 200K all the way up to 250K just from these 4 banks right here. So this is just a sample because look, I don't know what state you're in. I don't know what your situation is. I don't know what your relationships look like. I don't know who you have business checking accounts with, who you have your merchant account with. If you do have a merchant account, I don't know how long you've been in business. These variables or these factors matter greatly when it comes to how much funding you will get approved for. So with that being said, if you want one-on-one help and you're looking to get to $250,000 in 0% funding, it will not be an easy feat to accomplish by yourself. I'm just going to be straight up with you. I'm not going to sit up here and act like it's just super easy. It's not, because you have to know which banks you're going to go to and actually optimize based on what those banks are looking for. So you can apply, obviously be approved, take advantage of your 250K, But if you're looking for one-on-one help for this, if you say, you know what, Colin, look like you know what you're doing, you've helped your other clients get those same approvals. Let's see what you can do for me. Whether that be that 50 to 150K range, which is typical, but hey, even up to 250K. Hit the resource. There's going to be a link there below. You can fill out the form, fill out the survey, see if you qualify. And if you do, we'll hop on a call. We'll talk about exactly where you are right now, create a funding strategy right there live on the call, see which banks to go to, how much funding we can expect from them so we can get you funded here in 2025. I'm serious about this. This year, I'm looking to fund at least 500 people. So, like, I ain't got to fund the whole world. I'm looking for 500 clients to fund this year, right? And that will help me reach my goals. Matter of fact, I need more than 500 on a, 500 clients this year. I'm looking to fund at least 50 to 150K, if not higher than that. So let's reach the goal together, baby. Let's reach the goal together. If you are a business owner looking to get funded, hit the resource down below, like I said. If not, do it yourself. Here is the game plan or how you should go about it. But that's pretty much it. That's my time for now. See y'all in the next one. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe for weekly funded videos. We not stopping in 2025, baby. Let's go. See you soon.